If you run paid ads or sell any form of ad-related services, this video is going to blow your mind. Now, what if you could tell what a company is spending money on in terms of their ad spend, what channels are working, what YouTube channels they're sponsoring, and how much they're actually spending. So you don't need to just reach out completely cold to companies that turn out to have absolutely zero ad spend. So essentially, this is what this video will help you to do. And specifically, we're going to use a platform called clay.com and specifically the integration with AdBeat, which is going to be able to find us all of these cool metrics about any specific company. And in this video, I'll show you how you can go completely from start to finish in order for you to be able to finally send relevant and personalized emails to companies that you know fits your ideal client profile and you know that they're spending a lot of money on paid media and they may need your products or services. So let's get on with it. Assume you have no idea what the hell Clay is, so all you need to do is go and sign up for an account on the website, which is clay.com. I'll make sure to link my link down below so you can get 3,000, yes, you heard it, 3,000 free Clay credits, which is probably the equivalent of like $100 or so. And all you need to do is just basically click on the link, which will be linked underneath the video, and you should be able to redeem over $100 worth of free credits if you sign up for a paid account. And all you need to do is basically just sign up for an account, and when you're inside of Clay, so as soon as you're inside of your Clay account, it would look something like this. All you need to do is click on New, then Workbook, and voila, over here you are able to now click on Import from CSV file, and you can import a list of companies here. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you a super quick 5-step process that will walk you through from start to finish of how to build this out. And the first step will be to import companies to a Clay table. And I'll make sure to link this Google Sheet down below so you can have some sample data to test around inside of this workflow so you can follow along with me as well. Now, the second step inside of this workflow will be, as you can see here, to qualify how much each one of those companies spends on ads. So we'll find the cumulative ad spend for each individual company, on the basis of which we can then screen out any companies that are spending less than $2,000 a month on ads. And only after that, we can then find any of their direct competitors who we can name drop in the email copy. And we can also see what their competitors are spending their money on. So what ads are their competitors running, what platforms that's on, and so on. And then finally, step 5 will be to find the new enroll marketing people at our target accounts so that we can reach out to them and say something like this. And essentially in this case, it will be basically, hey, first name. And bear in mind, this is for new enroll marketing people. Hey, first name, saw you spend this amount of money on your best performing ad to date. Did this number of impressions lead to conversions for your, and then we name drop the product. Asking, as we just analyzed, ads from your top 3 competitors in this specific industry. And then we'll just say, and we'll basically name drop 2 direct competitors, which we've identified using AI. And we'll say something like, hey, Coca-Cola and Pepsi have been killing it with their recent ads, ... right? And this will autofill for whoever the direct competitors are. And after that, we'll say, hey, so I made a report on what ads your competitors are spending their money on, a library of their top 30 ads altogether, what YouTube channels they're sponsoring. Can I send it across? And it's going to be a low friction call to action, something like, hey, just reply yes, and I'll send it across. Of course, this is not the most crispy cold email copy out there. Bearing in mind, there is also a pretty decent personalized line where we say, hey, this is the ad that I thought was your best performing ad to date. And we'll basically just pull their number 1 ad from their things like Google Ads library or something of that sort. And we'll just add the URL of the ad itself. And then we'll say something like this, where it says, hey, I wasn't sure if it's a good idea to run this past you or past your colleague. And then we'll name drop a colleague, right? So in a nutshell, this is what we're striving to do. But back to basics, let's go to step 1. And the first step is to basically import a list of companies. What I'm going to do is underneath this video, you can download this CSV file. So all you need to do is download CSV and you will have access to this data. You'll just basically, inside of the Clay table, click on import from CSV and you will drag and drop the file. At that moment in time, you should see a file that looks something like this. Data point we have as the website URL. The first thing we need to do is to format it as a URL rather than a text, just to make sure that it's formatted correctly. And now we can continue with the workflow, step 1 of which will be to qualify how much the companies are actually spending right now. So in order to do that, we'll click on Add Enrichment, we'll type AdBeat, and over here, should be able to find the find cumulative ad spend enrichment, which costs 4 credits per row. As soon as we click on it, we can input the website URL of the company. We can see, for example, like can basically find any of their ads over the last year or two, I guess. So what we're going to do is just basically find any ads that they've been running this year. So I'm going to say from the 1st of the 1st in 2025 up until today, any ads that they have been running in the United States. And this is just so that we understand what ads these companies are like, how much they're actually spending on ads, right? We'll then click on continue to add fields, save and run 28 rows. And at this point in time, you're going to say, but it's a lot of credits and like, why would you run all the rows straight away? And in simple terms, it's because I've done this a million times before. Typically, if you were just starting out, of course, I just recommend to run a few rows, but you can see as soon as that happens, it will basically just populate with all the spending. So if I click on this, it will give me a number over here. And this is a number in dollars of how much they're spending per month, in total, how much they spent over this period on Google Ads, on ads overall. So I'm just going to say ad spending in 2025, and we'll create a column. Now, as a next step, if we go over here, we should be able to see that if they spend over $2,000, we would then want to find the best ads. And the way we'll do that is, once again, we'll use the enrichment for ad beat, and we can go for find top ads published by a company, and we will input the website URL. We'll do the exact same thing again, where we're just looking for any ads this year, and then we'll type in the United States. But in order for us to only find ads for the company, only if the company spent more than $1,000 before on ads, we'll need to, in this column here, to say only run if ad spending is over 1,000, for example, right? We can do over 2,000 as well, but I think all of these are spending quite a lot of money. That's why I gave it to you in the sample data. So now we're going to just save and run 28 rows once again. So at this moment in time, we just need to rename this to step 2, which is basically find top ads. And straight away, it will scrape, I believe, 50 ads per company on average. There are some cases where you only scrapes like 8 ads if the company hasn't done that many ads in total. But what we want to do is just find their number 1 ad. And if we click on ads here and we click on 0, this is going to be their best ad over here. So we'll basically just see over here, when we go to 0, we will get the ad, the creative URL. So we'll add it as a column and we'll say creative URL. We'll get the creative text if there is text as well. And then finally, this is how much they spent on this ad. And then this is how many impressions this ad got, right? And we can just rename all of those to best ad creative URL, best ad creative text, and so on. So let's just do that, best ad creative text. I'll do the same for all the other ones, just so we don't forget that these are the best ads that we're going to be referring to. So best some impressions, right? If we look back at the table here, what we've already done is we qualified how much they're spending on ads. If they spent over $1,000, we already are finding their best ads. So next up, all we need to do is just find their competitors so we can name drop them in the email copy. Now, the way we'll go about this is pretty straightforward. Once again, we'll click on Ad Enrichment. We'll use AdBeat once again. And AdBeat you can get directly and you can connect through your own API key here. But for the time being, I'm using credits because this is a demo account. But if you are to do this seriously for your ads agency or if you're selling ad-related services, it will literally cost you, I think, $250 a month, which is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but that's the cost of one sales qualified meeting right now, current status quo. So I'm sure you can go and can afford that. So next up, after we've already found all this stuff, the next thing we need to do is to find lookalike companies. And for those of you that may not be aware, lookalike companies are basically direct competitors that are advertising based on the same keywords and I guess all that fun stuff. So in super simple terms, we'll just basically give it country once again. And we want to find anyone who is similar in terms of like their bidding for keywords and stuff to the companies in the company list. So then we'll continue to add fields. All we want is just the lookalike URLs, I believe. So let's say we want it for the first item, for the second item, and for the third item. So in other words, we get 3 lookalike companies. We'll save and run 10 rows to start with. And I'll just rename this to step 3, find lookalike companies. You can see it's already pulled out a first one, which is these companies here, but you can see that it's got a bunch of lookalikes. So I'm just going to call this lookalike 1, and then I'm going to call this lookalike 2. Let's do this quickly. Oops. And then lookalike 2. Let's do this. And then finally lookalike 3, I believe, is this black boiler company, which does not sound like a SaaS tool, but we'll let it fly here. And yeah, you can see over here, lookalike 1, lookalike 2, lookalike 3. So this moment in time, we've done everything that I promised you so far, whereby we already found how much they're spending. We qualified based on that. We found the names of their competitors. We can also straight away find what the competitors are spending their money on, but right now it's a waste of credits because there is no guarantee that we're going to get any sort of positive reply from these people that we're reaching out to. So what I would recommend doing next is finding new enroll marketing people at these companies, because if you're there new enroll, they probably want to just be ahead of the game and already learn through the trial and error of their direct competitors and what ads the competitors are running. So for that, we'll click on Add Enrichment. I assume you don't have any fancy enrichment, so for that, I will recommend just typing in Find Contacts, and over here you can click on Find Contacts at Company, save results in this table, and that should be absolutely fine. Company identifier will be the website URL. Job title keywords, we're basically looking for anyone in marketing, and I'll just put in marketing chief, marketing VP, marketing vice president, and I'm sure you get the idea, so I'm just basically just going to continue typing that in. So marketing lead, marketing director, marketing head, and then CMO and chief marketing officer. Now, as soon as we saved all these job titles, what we can do is just look for the minimum number of months of the company to be 0 and the maximum number of months to be 7. So obviously, if they're within the first year of the company, the chances are they're probably going to be a bit more open-minded. Maybe after freebies like this one where we're sharing some free resources with them. And we'll click on Continue to Add Fields, and we'll basically save and run rows. What this will do is it will find us people that work at these companies already. So specifically at the company that we've inputted here, where we know for a fact they're spending enough money on ads already, and we can see some of their competitors, and we can see their best ad creatives as well. So straight away you can see over here, we'll just rename this to Find New Employees. This will pull out the names of people that are obviously the marketing people there. So I'll just say full name of new enroll employee. At this moment in time, we're super, super close to polishing off this workflow. And it's just a matter of putting the pieces together because we have most data points that we need in order to generate this entire template. So what I'm going to do is some absolute magic. And I'm going to show you how we can generate this entire template inside of clay.com in the next 5 minutes or so, hopefully. Now, for this part, I'm going to be inside of my ChatGPT account, and I'm going to use this magic formula that we teach you inside of Unlock Clay, which I will make sure to tell you all about later on after the end of this video. So now I'm going to super simplify the entire Clay table building process for you. And what I'm going to do is just copy and paste the final email templates that we want to generate inside of Clay, copy and paste the entire template directly from the Miro board, so this exact template, and I'm copying and pasting it straight into this GPT over here. Now, all I'm doing is just copying and pasting it, and voila, it should then tell me exactly how I can build out this entire Clay table, specifically the custom variables that I need to find. And I'll show you how we can put all of this together inside of the Clay table within the next couple of minutes or so, hopefully. So these are all the custom variables that we need to find on the left-hand side over here. And the only things that you then manually need to do is just think about where do you need to get it from. So in other words, what enrichment do you use? What's the step number? What do you want to do first? What do you want to do second? What do you do third? And then on top of that, you would need to think of the right prompt as well. So I've simplified this for you. I also added it to the Excel sheet, which is linked right underneath this table. And for that reason, you can see that over here. And we just need to go through this checklist. We already have the first name of the contact. We already have I believe, well, aside from that, we don't have anything else inside of the Clay table. So next up, what we need to do is just normalize the amount of money that they spent on their best performing ad. So in very simple terms, if we go back to this table here, you can see that this is the amount of money that they spent here, right? But this is just a normal number, and we need it in dollars preferably. So the way we'll do that is we'll just use AI. And in this case, we'll probably just use the content creation one. So we'll use content creation. We'll use any one of those models and we'll copy and paste this magic prompt, which took half of my brain cells to come up with. So it's basically the input is a number. I'll put this number in a dollar value and round it up to the nearest $100. I'll put just the dollar value and nothing else. And then the input is basically, as we said, it's just going to be the number of money that the amount that they spent on this. So we're just going to add this. And I believe it's just that. We'll just run it for 10 rows. And hopefully what this will do is output us a dollar amount for how much the company spent on ads. So let's have a look at how that looks like. Just give it a couple of seconds. So you can see over here, it just rounds it up. It's a lot easier in the email template. So later we can already say, so you spent this amount on your best performing ad to date, right? So we've already got this first curly bracket. The second thing we need is this sentence where we can say, did this number of impressions lead to conversions for whatever product you're selling, right? So this is the next thing that we need to find using most likely Clayagent. And the way we'll pull this off is we'll basically just go into ad enrichment. We'll type in Clayagent. And over here, we'll use Clayagent. And all you need to do, once again, a quick, easy copy and paste win for you. It will just be copying and pasting this exact prompt. Prompt is the input is the transcribed text from a creative that this specific company ran. And for this, we'll just input the website URL so they know which company we're referring to. We'll say, if needed, research the website further to understand the products and services that they're selling. And then to help you understand the product or service advertised, here is the ad information. We will just go into the information about the ad. So we'll just go into find top ads. We'll go into the top 50 ads and we'll just basically copy and paste all of the ad info that we have for the number one ad in the list, right? Based on that, we will then just change over here in the sentence at the bottom. We'll just fill it in with whatever the answer to the previous GPT module was. And it's just basically saying, hey, did this amount of impressions that we know that they got from the ad leads to conversions for their main product that they're selling, right? So in that case, we'll just save and run the 10 rows. And at this moment in time, it should basically generate a sentence that sounds something like this. Did the X amount of impressions lead to conversions for your data readiness for GenAI software? Now, I know this doesn't make sense because I think we filled in the dollar amount instead of number of impressions. In this case, we need to actually go and find the number of impressions that the company got, because you can see over here, we already have the dollar amount, but we don't have the number of impressions of the ad. And the way we'll normalize the number of impressions, because we already have it over here as the number of impressions, the only thing we need to do with that number is just feed it a prompt to normalize it. So the way we'll do it is we'll use ChatGPT once again. And in this case, we'll just use this magic prompt. The input is a number. I'll basically just round it up and we'll just give it the number of impressions that the company has. So let's click it here and we'll quickly run 10 rows. This should output a specific number to us now, which basically rounds up the number of impressions. So it basically just explains, like it's more presentable in the email. So then if we go into this sentence here, we now need to just basically change that amount from dollars to impressions, because obviously otherwise it would just be a bit, it wouldn't be as useful, it wouldn't sound as good. So let's do that quickly. There we are. We'll just save and run 10 rows again. And in the meantime, it's a bit of a creative mess here. So what I recommend typically when it's this messy to do is let's just copy and paste the entire email template and let's start generating it at the end of the Clay table. So for a lot of you, this may be very confusing, but all you need to do is click on add column, click on message. And over here, we're now going to start generating the message. So we'll say, hey, and then we'll fill in every single piece of this with the details about the person. So we'll say, hey, first name, saw you spent, and then we'll just basically put in the amount. So I think it was, where is the amount that they spent? Ad spent on your best performing ad to date. And then over here, we'll say, basically we'll fill in this sentence later. And then this is what we still have to do. So we just need to space out the message. So it looks something like this. And let's just do that quickly. And I'm sure you can just do this in your own time in the meantime. Basically, this is what the email template would look like. You can see we're still a couple of brackets behind on this template, but that's absolutely fine. So you can see over here that the advertised product sentence generated fine. So it's like, it says something like this: did the 200K plus impressions lead to conversions for your GenAI software? And in this case, the 10K plus impressions lead to conversions for your Reltio data cloud software, right? And once again, I know it sounds somewhat robotic, but we can always change that later down the line. In the meantime, we'll just basically just autofill this so that basically the response for this is going to be automatically filled in here. So you can see that now it just replaces the text there. And all we need to do now is just basically just map out all the steps, because step one, right now, as you can tell, is a huge mess. So we'll say step one, find data spend. Then after that, find top ads. Then let's say step three is to round up ads impressions. Step four, round up number one ad spend. And then after that, I think step five is basically lookalike companies generation. Based on this, right now, step six is to then find new people in the role, and so on, right? So you can see the process behind this. And then this is step seven, which is the advertised product. Step seven, generate sentence. Now, let's see what we're still missing in this template. So right now, if we go at the top, we can see that we're still missing the names of competitors, because right now the competitors are just the domains, and we don't have the names of the competitors. So for this, we'll just click on add enrichments. We'll type in ChatGPT, and we'll click on generate text here. And all we need to do is just copy and paste this quick prompt. So we're basically saying the input is two websites, just basically give it to me in the format of the company names instead of just the websites. So we just need to give it lookalike 1 and then lookalike 2. And based on that, hopefully you should be able to generate the actual names of the companies so that we can put them in the email copy. So we'll just say step 8, find lookalike company names. And straight away over here, we have the output here. So straight away, we have these two words and we can just add them to the copy over here. Right, so we'll just say, right, where is this? Let's just quickly, and you can see over here, if we now just go and select the actual competitors, they should be over here. So if we just click on that, and you can see over here, we just filled in the name of the competitors here, just so we can name drop. So we can name drop those, and straight away we'll also add the list of competitors here as well. So we can call them out in the email copy a couple of times, saying like, hey, these are the exact competitors that we have data on, basically. And at this moment in time, we're basically done with the entire template. The only thing that we're missing is we can fill in the add creative URL, because remember, we enriched the top ads. So all we need to do here is just go into the first ad and basically just find the URL of the creative. And that's it. So the only thing that we need to generate in this email copy in order for this to work perfectly well is just this asking as sentence, because right now you can see it has to say something like, hey, asking as we just analyze ads from the top 3 competitors in this specific industry. And the way we'll pull this off is, once again, I hate to say it, through another quick ChatGPT enrichment. And basically, in super simple terms, we'll click on add enrichment again. We'll type in ChatGPT. And in the meantime, let's just wait for this to load. We'll generate the text, and we just need to copy and paste the prompt here. And I'm going to read out the prompt to you straight away. So what we're saying here is go and research this website, and I'll put a sentence where you replace the curly brackets with the name of the niche industry or subsector where the company operates. And in this case, we just basically have to give it a list of competitors as well, just in case, so that in case it can check, what industry they're all in, and we're just going to feed it here as well. And then finally, I'm sure you can pause the screen and just like read that to yourself. But in super simple terms, what we're saying is just basically generate us this sentence, which you can see over here, this sentence completely for us. So this sentence here. And after that, we're just going to save and run 10 rows again, burning through clay credits in the process. Say something like this for now. We'll say asking as we just analyze ads from our top 3 competitors in the data analytics and enterprise software space. We'll say asking as sentence. This will be the actual sentence that we generate here. And once again, we're just going to add it to the email template here. So nothing too fancy. We're just going to basically just add it here, and we'll say asking as, asking, And just to show you that it works, I'll just put in asking a sentence. And voila, you can see the entire email template is generated. The only thing that hasn't been generated so far is the colleague name at the bottom. And that's simply because we haven't found the like any names of colleagues just yet. So for that, we're going to just basically use the same as the previous enrichment that we used. So we're just going to click on that, click on duplicate. Now, this time, we're just going to find any colleagues that have been in the role for more than 8 months, so that basically we don't have a crossover between the previous people. We don't want to reach out to this person here, to Laura, and say, hey, I wasn't sure if to send it to you or to Laura as well, right? So in this case, we're just basically going to add over here the colleague name, and the colleague name will be just a random name that we just found in this find new employees field here. And let me just find that. So for those of you that may not have name dropped colleague names before, it's basically just clicking on the output here, and look here, people, we need to basically select one specific name of a person. And the way to do that in the easiest form is just to go into the 0 and then just select the name here and just call this column colleague name. And on the right hand side here, voila, we should just be able to fill in the name of the colleague. Just do that. So here's how I'd go about it. I'll just put in the colleague name, add it here, and you can see it's added. Not sure you heard a couple of seconds ago, I literally had like a delivery driver just knocking on the door whilst I was recording this. So I had to walk out with this like random microphone, and I looked really, really odd. I could tell that he was quite impressed with it. Anyways, that's that. And then in the meantime, all we're going to do now is just save and not run these rows. I would recommend renaming this table so that all the steps are super clear. And just for full transparency with you guys, so essentially what we've done in this specific video is we went through a quick build out of this. Obviously, this was rushed. It wasn't done to perfection like I typically like to do it, because I don't have all the time in the world to basically come up with these. What I'll do for anyone that's inside of Unlock Clay already, I will make sure to send you this exact table so you don't have to build it out from start to finish yourself, and you will have the exact template that we use internally to run all of these kinds of ads campaigns. And it's a tiny bit different, but it's basically more or less the same backbone. And I'll give you the exact template so you don't need to basically build out manually. Now, in case if you watch this far, which is, not sure what the probability behind that is, if you enjoyed this video, if it was clear and informative in any way, shape, or form, I think you would greatly benefit from Unlock Clay. And for those of you that may not be aware, Unlock Clay is the fastest, cheapest, and probably the best way to learn Clay completely from scratch. Now, my friend, if you made it this far, and if you're still not inside of Unlock Clay, I very much recommend you considering to check out this website, which is unlockclay.com, and it'll explain to you how you can learn Clay alongside most of the other mainstream and popular sales tools on the market, and how you can learn it in under 3, under 4, under 5 hours potentially. And it's the fastest, cheapest, and most convenient way of learning Clay. Because guess what? When you have complicated Clay tables like this one, where it's how many, 31 columns, over 7,000 different rows, you are bound to make mistakes. And when those mistakes occur, you probably want to have a community of people around you that can support you and answer your most stupid FAQs ever sometimes. And if right now you're at a point in your life where you're thinking, hey, I see the value of Clay, I understand that it's the future, I understand that's the way that we will acquire new customers, but I have no idea where to get started with it. Or even if you're an intermediate user of Clay and you're thinking, hey, I just want some free workflows like this one, and I want to network with a bunch of like-minded people, all you need to do is just go check out Unlock Clay. You'll get access to our community. You'll get access to over 10 hours probably of content that I put out before, walking you from start to finish, from like the real basics of step 1 of how to build a Clay table, all the way to the more sophisticated things like I've shown in this video as well. So if you enjoyed this, please consider going to unlockclay.com. As the next video, I will make sure to loop another video which just gives you a high-level summary of what Clay is, in case if you're wondering, and I'll see you in the next video. And also consider subscribing, because come on, like this channel has to reach like 300 or 400 subscribers by now, surely. Anyways, all the best. Have a good one. Cheers.